We're live. Can you hear me? You can hear me, right? Okay. So we're good. All right. So welcome to the first episode of the Meet the Press podcast. That's what we're going to call ourselves for now, just in case CBS decides to send us a cease and desist letter because Jared came up with a podcast that's also the name of a very popular political talk show. But until then, we're going to be Meet the Press. I'm Tyler Dixon. I am one of your co-hosts. The guy. You're right. The mirror does mess you up. I was trying to point at you, and it was weird.
Told you I was
The
trying to
other
fix my hair and it wouldn't work.
right. The other guy on the screen is Jared McDonald. I'm glad we're finally doing this. We've talked about this for a while now, and we're in the business of making stuff. So I'm glad we're gonna finally make something.
Yeah, putting out that content. A lot of people had asked me to do podcasts before or brought up the idea. Then when you said something a few weeks ago, it really wasn't that long ago. I was all on board because I knew we'd actually do it. So it's good to be here.
And we're here, and we're finally doing this. Um, yeah, we're constantly gonna be like fixing our hair because again, we don't know which
Uh,
way is left and right. Like given the way that these screens are.
yeah, we're trying to
Um,
look nice for you guys. We both showered before this and
we did both
everything. So
shower. Yeah. And honestly, it was a Sunday evening, and I'm like, usually I wouldn't have showered on a Sunday evening. I got work in the morning, I just shower in the morning.
oh yeah, definitely a morning shower.
Yeah. I mean, and because I actually have a job where I have to like wake up in the morning now. And I don't
That
like that as much.
I feel like that was you throwing shade a little bit. I have a job where I have to wake up in the morning.
No, it wasn't throwing shade. It was like, hey, I know it was throwing shade. I am mad about it, but like, yeah, I have to wake. I mean, granted, I wake up at like 7,
Yeah, it's not too
usually
bad.
6:45, 7 o'clock.
That's,
But
that's not terrible.
like the other teachers, and we'll like talk about it, like our morning routine and stuff. And we're like, oh yeah, I got to do this with my kids. And then I'm like, I wake up, I jump in the shower, I grab a waffle, I grab my water bottle, I'm out the door.
So Tyler's a teacher, in case you guys didn't
I'm a
catch that.
teacher.
We're going back
Yeah.
to introductions now.
Uh, yeah. So we'll do introductions just so you guys know who we are. I'll let Jared go first because he's the one that's actually in the business of creating content right now. I'm just the molder of young minds, but we'll get into that more. But I'll let Jared tell you about himself.
What's up? I'm Jared. I'm 19, and I never. Just kidding. Uh, I'm Jared. Vine reference for all you kids out there that, and for those that don't know what Vine is, it's like TikTok, except only 6 seconds.
Yeah,
RIP Vine.
man, it's all about the vine.
All about the Vine. But anyway, no, I'm Jared McDonald, 28, living in Bowling Green, Kentucky, working at the Daily News. In sports at the newspaper there, covering Western Kentucky, football, basketball, volleyball, softball, baseball, a little bit of everything. Um, yeah, I'm sure we'll touch on everything else as this
Yeah,
podcast goes on, but that's the basics right there. Tyler,
that's
what about
basically
you?
you. I'm a high school teacher. This is my first year. I teach at Notre Dame Regional High School in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, the high school that I attended and graduated from as a esteemed alumni in 2009. Why they brought me back, who knows? Um, I teach journalism, yearbook, and a broadcasting class, and it's interesting. I've uh, I've lectured in college classrooms before, but this was kind of my first high school experience, and it's very interesting seeing it from this side of the classroom because, again, I was a student there and I knew how things went. Now, as a teacher, I see the other side, and it's number one terrifying, but number two, it's interesting because you never know what they're gonna say. But we'll get into a lot of stories, I'm sure. I'm very
We're in the bit.
excited
We're in the
about that.
business. Well, I'm in the business of stories.
You're in the
Where are
business of
you?
stories. I'm a former teller of stories with some stops in Kentucky. That's how Mr. McDonald and I crossed paths. Do you remember whenever we officially like met Do you remember where we were?
No, probably a
I
bar.
remember.
Where was it?
It was Logan County football practice.
Oh, dang. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why were we there?
I
I know
was
they were
doing
good that year. That was 2 years ago. Um,
no, it was longer than that. It was at least 3
what was
years ago
2.5?
because
It would have been 2019.
because they were about to play Hoptown in the playoffs, and you were doing like maybe like your player of the week or some like spotlight of the week thing.
That sounds about right.
But we knew each other obviously on Twitter and social media first. And then you're oddly from the same or like the next town over from somebody that I know.
Yep. Yep. I remember now. I remember now.
Yeah. Yeah, because I said the name and you're like I said the last name and then you said, "Oh, you mean," and then you inserted the first name.
Yeah, because you had thrown out there that they were very good wrestlers too,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that was I forgot all about that.
yeah,
I
and
figured it
you
was at like a track meet or something when all the writers get together and have a drink or
oh
two
man,
and
that's those are the best. Those would be podcasts if we just like bottle up those nights.
yeah, I don't think so.
I think it'd be good. Have you ever
Well, it would be good, but
have you ever let me see, waited out a rainstorm in the track and field parking garage at UK with Josh Moore while watching Parks and Rec? Because I have.
no, I
Yeah,
I
because
prefer to
I've
stay
done
in
that.
I prefer to stay in that little tent as the thunderstorm goes off
Yeah, but
with the metal
whenever
poles surrounding us.
uh man, I talk about that sometimes whenever because I always find the picture of like people waiting around in like ankle deep water and like because there was a storm at the UK track and field complex during the state championship at Kentucky and I remember them going on the loudspeaker and saying like all athletes and fans like return to your cars and everything and then we're all like, yeah, we're gonna go in this tent back here by this pool that we're just standing in.
Man, there were some good times on the prep beat. I kind of miss it a
Woo.
little bit, but I love what I do now, traveling and watching games, eating barbecue all across the country. Hence the name, Meet the Prep.
That's Jared's thing. Is he's a Texas transplant, basically?
Basically, yeah, I'm pretty much a native at this point.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, your favorite beer is Lone Star
I've got two
now.
cases in my fridge right now.
Can you buy that in
Save
Bowling Green? You can, right?
no,
You really can't? Is that true?
no, yeah, no, I haven't seen it anywhere except Texas.
Oh
I'm
wow.
waiting until it gets warm. I'm gonna throw it in my Bucky's koozie and sit outside, throw on my cowboy hat, put on some George Strait and Amarillo by morning with some Lone Star.
That does sound like a pretty good afternoon.
It's a vibe. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
it's
you
a Tuesday
brought
afternoon.
that time you came up to Owensboro, you brought Lone Star.
That was a time. Yeah,
That was a rough night. That was a really bad night.
no, it was a good night,
Mm,
but
yeah. Was that the night who was with us that night? Was Gage with us that
Brian,
night? Or
Brian,
was Brian with us that night?
yeah, Brian Edwards.
Okay, yeah, Brian Edwards. Because that wasn't so that was one night. And then another night I had was with Gage and someone we both know in Dominic Yates.
That sounds like a night.
Yeah, because it was the night of the Kentucky Indiana All Star game. Because I'm leaving the game and he's like, "Hey, what you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go out." And he's like, "Oh, well, can I sleep on the couch?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, of course, no problem." And so I don't think anything else about it. I left at halftime of the boys' game because I didn't have anybody in the boys' game, and so like I'm walking to the bar that is, as you know, across the parking lot from my apartment, and he calls me and he goes, hey man, were you serious about like letting me stay there? And I'm like, yeah. So then Dominic Yates came out with us and we stayed out till the we so this is like I gained a lot of respect for Gage at this point because we were out till like 2 or 3 in the morning and then he went home and slept for like an hour or two and then he left at 5 to go cover a state track meet at in Lexington. I don't know how he did it.
It's
I
impressive. I've done the state track meets no sleep before though, but that was after covering football in Bowling Green. The worst one I
yeah.
ever did was I did a football game in Bowling Green, stayed up all night, drove to Lexington for track, did track all day, then covered state soccer until like 2 in the morning doing stuff. And then I just grabbed a hotel and just crashed.
Yeah. One of my worst was one day I covered this was when I was still in Hopkinsville and I covered um region cross country at Davis County in Owensboro. And then I covered Hoptown Elite Eight boys soccer at Louisville Butler and then drove back from Louisville. And I was a stupid boy and forgot about the time change. So like I'm sitting at the track at cross country and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I got a couple hours. I'm like, I can sit here and work. I'm like, I'm just gonna go ahead and drive out there. I'm like, I'll grab something to eat close to the school or something. And like as I'm starting to go over, I start to like sit there and I'm like, there's a time change. And like the game started at 6 and I was projected to get there at like 6:02 or something, but I made it. But that was also the year of the tsunami that happened at Frederick Douglass for the Final Four game for soccer.
So if you guys couldn't tell, we travel all across the state. Now me, the
Yeah.
country. But we're tight with pretty much most of the sports writers from across the state. I'm sure they'll hop on here at some
Yeah,
point
we're gonna have
as we
everybody
move
on.
along. Yeah, we might have a roundtable at some point, and things will probably go off the rails. But we'll have fun with it. We want to share our experiences with you, kind of, uh, you know, bring that to the forefront of your attention, I guess, to showcase what we really are out here trying to do and talking about sports along the way, giving our opinions. If you guys don't care about the opinions, you can always turn off the podcast,
It's true.
unsubscribe. But if you do,
Oh, this is the part where Jared's paused.
we'll be
You
back.
just cut out.
Yeah, they were probably like, this guy's already telling you to hit the subscribe button. Let's just shut his mic off right quick. And
He's already done. But no, Jared's right. I mean,
I was just trying to get the wheels back on the train, man.
yeah.
Get the train back
I
on the
mean,
track,
and
wheels
now,
on the
but
train,
your
wheels on the
internet
bus.
is not letting it happen.
No, no, and that's
No,
probably gonna happen every now and again.
but I mean, no, Jared's right. I mean, we've been lucky enough to have some really cool experiences in this business and also outside of this business. But I think we both have some pretty interesting stories that we can probably share from the road. I know you have some. I know I have some from covering things and family trips and friend trips and spring break trips and all kinds of stuff. But I think that I think that's the cool thing and it's something that I talk about with my students a lot is the just the ability to like tell stories. Like that's the best part about this business. That's the thing that I miss the most about this business is just being able to tell stories because it's sometimes that person that you interact with and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk to them for one story. They're not going to have any effect on me." And you do one story on that person and there's someone that you become super close with. And I know you have plenty of experiences like that as well.
Oh yeah, I just had one just the other day. I was actually, out and about around town, and then someone from across the state that was an assistant basketball coach at one of the high schools. I ran into him, found that out, and we talked for like half an hour about people we knew and games that we were at and all of this stuff. And it's really weird how tight knit this community is, and how close you get with some of these people that you interact with, day to day.
Right.
Even if it's just a couple times a year, you catch up and you're just like old friends again or whatnot.
Because we don't always have as much time. I say we. I'm gonna continue to say we and continue to put myself in the sports reporter realm just because that's gonna be easier for wordage. But like I mean we don't always
Yeah,
wordage. Yeah,
wordage. Yeah, you're out of the business. We
wordage.
can tell.
Yeah, I teach
We can
kids.
tell.
Um but I mean it's I don't know. It's cool because we have that ability and we kind of I I don't know. We have that. It's a blessing and a curse because I tell my students all the time. It's like you get to tell all these stories, but I mean, you miss out on a lot of things. I mean, you miss out on. I mean, hell, you're from across the country. I mean, you're missing out on things with your family. I mean, you're missing out on things with your friends from home, and it becomes the point where the people that you cover, the people that you interact with on that daily basis are your family. I mean, I've done Thanksgiving with other reporters. I've done Thanksgiving with or like holidays with people I've covered and I've worked with on that in that basis just because they do become your family. They do become somebody that you kind of interact with and you talk about whenever we hang out with all the other reporters on state trips like that's a highlight. Like we talk about that a couple weeks leading up to state. Like, hey, who's going to be in town? Where's everybody staying? Like, where are we going to go? And is it Drake's on Tate's Creek or is it somewhere else around Lexington? But like that's the cool part. Like just having those interactions and then seeing on social media how oh, this random person that I followed once just so happened to go to college with this person that I've known for 15 years. Like it's a small world in this business.
Yeah. Well, you say I miss out on some things being from halfway across the country, but
Right.
how many people can say they spent a Thanksgiving watching The Grinch alone at a Buffalo Wild Wings bar in Sioux Falls, South Dakota? Not many, but I can.
That's yeah. But I'm glad you wear it like a badge of honor because that's I mean, that's a
There's no
weird story.
I don't know how else to wear it without
Yeah,
it
I
being
don't know.
without it being just really sad.
I was gonna say there may be like a hint of sadness in there. I like you going for the sympathy angle. I
Yeah.
respect that.
If you
That's
feel bad
awesome.
for us guys, please subscribe.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
but no,
we'll
but it's fun. I get to see a lot of cool places and meet cool people, like Tyler said. So, from all over the country, and you interact on Twitter and social media and stuff like that. And once you finally meet them, it's like you've already known them for a long
right.
time.
Like it's like whenever we're just starting out, we kind of hear of I don't want to put like anybody on a pedestal or anything. But like we're from like you came from Maysville and I was in Hopkinsville, so maybe not like the hub of activity in Kentucky. And then you interact with guys that work at like kind of the major papers and like Josh Moore, who super smart dude. You meet him and you're like, how are you like a real person? Like you're just the weirdest dude, but like he's the nicest guy and like he would do anything for anyone and like we just meet all these random people and like yes, Jared Peck is as unpleasant as he seems on Twitter. That is true. I can confirm that. But like and you meet all these guys and then you hear people in the public like, "Oh man, Josh Moore said this on Twitter the other day." And you're like, "Yeah, Josh said something stupid that one time." And it's really funny like hearing other people refer to them in that light.
Yeah, yeah. But should we talk about sports?
Yeah, we can talk about
I mean,
sports.
there's not much going on this time of year. Um,
No,
gosh,
there's not.
just nothing really to talk about.
Just a old blue blood
Blue
championship.
Bloods. Yeah, that's true. The Final
I
Four, I
mean,
guess, was happening. So, did you know it was
yeah,
Coach K's last year? I didn't know that before last night. Didn't know.
man, I
That,
honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I hate Duke with a lot of passion in my body. I kind of felt for the guy.
I don't hate Duke. I don't love Duke, but the thing I was happy about was
That it's
that
over.
now people will stop saying that the tournament is rigged because
Right.
sports aren't rigged. Like it's hard enough to just get these events off normally, letting the people go out there and play the game, let alone rig it.
Right.
It's just not realistic.
Right. Like, yes, that's what and it's really funny because like you went from being a Kentucky media person to holy crap, we have Kentucky Murray State matching up in the second round. Like this is going to be like the ultimate battle for the bluegrass, and then you have little the Cox coming in and just swinging around and just not doing it, man. You like that? You don't like that one? Not good.
I know
But
what you were.
and just I mean,
Just keep doing your thing, man.
but I just they come in and then they kind of like ruin that. And I think that's kind of like the cool part about this year because number one, did it suck because I'm a Kentucky fan? Yes, I was sad. It was unfortunate because I thought this Kentucky team was dumb enough to mess around and do something like win a national championship. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I still got Murray State. I still got my master's, my grad school. That's all good. And then from the jump, it looked like Murray State was the 15 seed.
Yeah.
Like
No,
from the jump.
I love it because it really shows the parity across college basketball right
Dude, it's
now.
so
And
crazy.
people are out here saying there's no good teams now, blah 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 blah, because teams aren't winning 3, 4, 5, national titles in a decade. But it just shows how difficult winning a national title is. I
Yeah.
don't think a, a 68 team single elimination tournament is the best way to determine the best team in America. I'm not saying that we should stop doing that or there's an easier way to do that or a better
Right.
way to do that because I think it's the way it should be. It doesn't always give you who's the quote unquote best team.
It's basically who's the best that day kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't think mid majors still get enough credit for their ability to hang with the big boys. Like St. Peter's does. Like Murray State has done over the years. Because going down towards that end of the season for Murray State, they weren't necessarily a lock to still make it. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
thought they were, but before they had that Belmont blowout, I mean, they still had some tough games. They had that
Yeah, yeah,
Belmont game
yeah.
that a lot of people thought would be closer than it was. They still had, SEMO on the road, who had just beaten or played close or something like that with Morehead
With
State.
more it went to overtime. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then you still had the whole OVC tournament, so it wasn't a lock, and you know it doesn't matter because a lot of those leagues like that. I'm just using that as an example. Only get
Right.
one team in. I see it all the time with Conference USA, and Conference USA is one of the leagues that's had a lot of success in the NCAA tournament over the years. UAB played in it this year. They were the Conference USA champions.
Mhm.
They got a really tough 12-5 matchup with Houston. That
But
that Houston
and
team
they
was
were
a lot
favored
better
and
than 5.
right, and a lot of people did like them, and I even did pick them on I think one to upset Houston because I'm a Taven
On
fan, so
one, you do. Do you do?
I
Well,
did pick them to upset
do
on
you do
one.
multiple brackets?
Yeah, I did.
That's-
I know.
I'm a one bracket guy.
I didn't do any last year.
I spend about 2 to 3 minutes on it. Just go with my gut, no research, because it's not worth it. After game one this year, not including that first four, my bracket was busted.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun in theory to fill out a bracket because you're like, "Oh man, this could be it. Like I could figure it out." It's like playing the lottery. Like, "Hey, this is it. Like I picked these numbers. This is right." You're not going to it's like baseball. 3 out of 10 is successful. Like if you get a bracket and you're like, "Okay, well it's not complete crap." Are you okay with that? I mean, I had some of my students fill one out.
Mine's
That was fun.
crap. Just, my bracket's complete crap.
I
It was
mean,
complete crap pretty much the whole time.
I had 2 students that had 2 teams in the Final Four
That's
out
it.
of out of 35. Yeah.
Do they follow basketball at all, or it's just
None.
random guessing?
Nope.
None.
Nope, not a clue. And I did one year, when I was at Murray State, I was, a grad advisor at the newspaper. I made a bracket with just the mascots and, like, took the schools out and put just the mascots and had them run and, like, play it out through that, like, what the mascot was their favorite.
I
It
do
took a
this
long time.
I do this stuff for a living. I had 0 of the Final Four correct. You want to hear it? I had
Yeah, of course.
Arkansas. I,
Uh-huh.
but to my credit, picking Arkansas, I had just spent like 2 full days driving through Arkansas, spending hours on end at Love's truck stops. So I was all in on the Hogs.
Hearing everything
Woo
from
pig, yeah, yeah.
Woo Pig, Woo
Eric
Pig,
Musselman
right?
was going to be governor. All that stuff.
Right, right, right.
Purdue. I don't know why I did that. They always
Hey, man,
get
Matt
upset.
Painter, former SIU Saluki.
They
But
always
yeah,
get
but
upset.
yeah, I know they get.
Tennessee and Auburn. I thought those were real good picks.
Yeah, I had Kentucky, Arizona. Who do I have coming out of that top left? I might have had Gonzaga. I don't know who I had out of the bottom right.
But what I'm trying to say is, I don't put much effort into my brackets because
No,
it's not worth it to me.
no, because no. Like there are a lot of things that you could put a lot of like work in, and that's one thing that again, you do this for a living. You cover college basketball for a living. And I mean, do you know more than anybody else? I hope your owners aren't watching this, but like,
I I I think I do. I
that was not confident at all.
I think I do.
I think I know what I'm doing.
Uh, no, I feel like I have a better understanding than a lot of people
Right,
because
right, right, right,
I'm able to interact and I understand their point of view, and
right.
it's my job to report on what happens. And like a lot of people will question coaches' decisions and stuff.
Hmm.
It's not my job to. I'm not a columnist. I don't
Hmm.
give my opinions on why a coach went for two or why the coach didn't call a
Hmm.
timeout. It's my job to find out why he didn't, his reasoning
Right,
in that.
right,
And
right.
honestly, in those situations like that, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer because there's going to be a reason why you call a timeout in a certain situation or why you go for it on fourth down in a situation.
Hmm.
There's some reason behind that thinking or some thinking behind that decision or
Right. They're
whatever the word.
extenuating factors. Yeah,
Yeah, there's
yeah.
no right or wrong in my opinion in those.
I feel like you're gonna give us kind of the by the book reporter answer, and I'm gonna kind of be the fly by the seat of your pants columnist thing.
Yeah, no, I think that'll marry well.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, I did a roundtable Wednesday, Tuesday about the recent Murray State hire, and got in a yelling match with the new WPST sports director Adam Wells.
I know we said we were going to cut this off at around 30 minutes. We're at 27 and a half now, but do you want to talk about that?
Oh, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I think it wasn't the best hire. I mean, I'm not. I want to say apparently I've been getting called out on the Racer Nation, whatever the fan board is called for Murray State, as you know, full of logic and well thought out theories, fan boards. And I was called a troll of trolls because I don't like the hire of Steve Prohm. I don't have anything against Steve Prohm. I bet he's a fine guy. I bet he's completely good human being, cool with that, don't care. But I I mean, you hire him for a basketball coach. I get that. Last 2 years at Iowa State, the guy didn't win an away game. His last year at Iowa State, he won 2 games. Didn't coach at all this past year. Iowa made it to the Sweet 16. Steve Prohm gets hired back at his old school. So I just feel like you could have done better. I feel like it was a settling hire, but again, you're going to the Missouri Valley. It's uncharted territory. It's a new place. You know what you're getting in Prohm. I get it. I'm not saying it's bad. Just wouldn't be for me. So I'll say that. See, I kept that like under. Now we can still cut it off at 30. I I, I
Yeah,
sum
I
I
thought you were going
summed
to go
that
much
up.
longer. I thought you were
Yeah,
going to go much longer than I'm proud of you.
no, I did. I cut it down because I do. I want it to be clear. I don't have anything against Steve Perone. Like I don't know him. I've never been introduced to Steve Perone. Would I like? Sure, I'd love to meet Steve Perone. That'd be great. I think you could have made a better hire, a sexier hire, something like that. But again, I'm okay with that.
Who do you think would have been the sexiest hire for a
Oh man, the sexiest hire. When I think of a sexy hire, I think, and it didn't work out, but like a Shaka at Texas, that was a sexy hire when that went down. But obviously it didn't work. Sexy
I feel like
hire.
I feel like we're comparing apples and oranges a little bit there with Murray State and Texas. But
I mean, Sure. But I would say James Kane, assistant at Dayton, former Murray State assistant, helped bring in what's his name? He's a point guard, Grizzlies, John Morant. So obviously the dude knows,
Who's that?
he's not even playing right now.
Oh, so he's not good. Right?
Not good. That's a legit conversation. Are the Grizzlies better without John Morant? Come back next week and find out. Because they are like have a better record without him. But I think James Kane, I think that would have been a cool thing. A sexy hire come in. I think you might have kept maybe a Juice Hill. I think you might have kept him. I know Juice ended up at LSU with Matt McMahon. Also, Murray State, stop blaming Matt McMahon. Dude just doing what he needed to do, looking out for his bread. Leave him alone.
It's not even just that, man. It's these kids have a right to go where they're going to be happy. I mean,
right.
Part of the reason why they went to Murray State was, for the coach and those relationships.
Right.
If you want to continue that, it's good for them. That's why the rules are the way they are right now, to help out some of these student athletes.
It is creating a logjam, though. But we don't need to get into the transfer portal. That'll cause a whole thing.
I get all the transfer portal.
Do you? I can't imagine.
Rivals, 24/7 verbal commits. Every tweet they send out goes to my phone. It's blowing up at all hours of the day. And so anytime someone goes in, and I'm like, I wonder if this could go to Western.
Is that like everyone gets the wheels turning?
It gets the wheels turning. Like I see these kids from across the USA because you get to know them, covering them and whatnot. I'm like, I wonder if he's going to stay in the league. I'm going to see him again. He's a good player. He could be this or that. It's a lot of notifications though.
I can't imagine. That sounds.
Someone's like that's probably not a great quality of life.
I will say that's one thing that I don't miss is being like having to be on top of everything. Because like before I had the mindset of, all right, all these teams play tonight. All these games are going on right now. I need to do the roundup for this, and this. And now I don't have to do that. And it's nice.
Have you found that when you were working in this field, you got into very specific stuff and you were like super into it? Like I love covering Conference USA stuff now. Like I find it so interesting just because I know the people around it and stuff and the teams. I'm familiar with them. And it's kind of like, when you have your own thing, you like it a little bit more.
I learned a little bit about when I first got to Owensboro. There was a gentleman by the name of Bill Bibb that passed away. He used to be a former AD at Mercer and actually like helped create I think it was the ASUN. What conference is Mercer? Whatever it is, he like helped create it, but he used to coach at Wesleyan. And like I talked to his son and he was like telling me all the guys that went from like Owensboro to Mercer and like started that like weird pipeline. And that kind of gave me like a background into the like Owensboro hoops because I've heard of the Dust Bowl and stuff like that. But that kind of gave me the background into like the Owensboro hoops legacy. Like I knew the Hoptown one pretty well. And so hearing that one was kind of, it was cool because I knew Owensboro obviously had history, but seeing that and hearing about that was really interesting.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I was the same way with Maysville when I lived there. I still give some random Mason County stats, like at the KHSAA Sweet 16 this year, because now I'm in Bowling Green and we cover Warren Central, who played for the state title. Like, the last time they won it was 04. And I was like, oh yes, they beat Mason County. They stopped Mason County from winning back-to-back titles. They won it in 03, coached by Kelly Wells. Chris Lofton was on that team. It was their first of 2 Sweet 16 titles. They also won in 08, a team coached by Chris O'Hearn and led by Darius Miller, future Kentucky Wildcat, who won the national title there in 2012. He was drafted by the New Orleans Pelicans. He eventually was released by the team, went to Germany, won 3 titles with Rose Bamberg of the Basketball Bundesliga, and then came back to the Pelicans. It's stuff like that just.
And that Warren Central team was coached by Tim Riley, who I covered in Owensboro.
It all ties together.
It all circles together.
It's the circle of sports, lives. It's where life
Also,
meets sports.
if I would have told you at the beginning of the year that one team from Bowling Green would play for a state championship, it'd be Warren Central. Would you believe me?
At the beginning of this year?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Would you really? Would you put them over Bowling Green at the beginning of the year?
Absolutely. Because I know Coach Unseld. I talked to him, a little bit when I was more on the prep stuff. I haven't really talked to him recently,
Uh-huh.
but he was high on this group of kids, back when they were going to Final Fours, 2, 3 years ago.
Hmm.
He was talking about this group, and they were one of the last 4 teams left in the state. So I was excited to see what this team could do, and I don't think they disappointed, and I think they'll be, just as good, if not better, next year. They lose a couple guys, but they're still going to be loaded.
It was a heck of a run. I know that Thursday, Friday afternoon, whatever day Mail played them. What day was that?
I don't know.
I think it was Friday. I had it on in my classroom, and my students were watching it. And one of my students said, because it said Mail and then just Warren Central, and she goes, "I don't remember picking either of these teams yesterday." And I said, um, "That's because you didn't. This is the Kentucky High School State Championship." She goes, "So this isn't even real?" And I'm like, "No, no, it's real. It's super real, but it's no, you did not pick either of these teams yesterday."
You should have made him pick the Sweet 16.
Ooh, that
Just
would
for
I would hear even more complaints. They'd probably pick just like the coolest name,
There are some cool names in there. The Bulldogs, the Dragons,
Lions.
Cardinals. Actually, no, they're pretty standard. But still,
I mean, the Lions, Lyon County Lions.
yeah, I like that. There are some good mascots across the state.
What's Maysville?
Uh, they were the Maysville Bulldogs. The Maysville does not exist. They kind of
Oh, Maysville.
consolidated with Mason County. Now they're the Royals, though.
The Royals. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Royals. Yes, and
Eh,
then also in town you have the St. Patrick's Saints, the small, private.
right. I remember those pictures from shout out Evan Dennison
Yeah, that's where I
in the group
started
message.
That's where I started my professional career, man.
Mine
Two
was
row,
in
two row gymnasiums to professional stadiums.
what was what was your first non-school writing job?
My first non-school writing job.
Like that
Full
you
time,
weren't going to school.
or can it be an
No.
internship?
Yeah, it can be an internship.
Well, I was an intern in college at a TV
Okay.
station in Boston, in their
Okay.
sports department there. I logged a lot of games, so I marked down timestamps of when, goals happened, when touchdowns happened, stuff like that. Watched a lot of BC football, Bruins hockey, Celtics, basketball and stuff. But we were so close where this TV studio was that to the TD Garden where the Celtics
Uh-huh.
and the Bruins played, and I worked Friday, Saturday nights. That I would go over a lot of times, end of the second period hockey, end of the third quarter, or yeah, whatever, basketball, and go to locker rooms, maybe catch the end of the game, and kind of go get post game sound. So I was in, professional locker rooms while I was in college,
Oh,
and
that's
then
awesome.
yeah, and then after that, I moved back to Maine while I was looking for a full time job and wrote for a place called Eastern Maine Sports. It's a blog that they do. It's grown a lot over the years. It's one of the top news sports, one of the top sports sources in Maine now. Mark Calnan there gave me an opportunity to cover some games. It was kind of like a volunteer type of deal, but it gave me a chance to get some more experience. And that's part of the reason why Evan Dennison hired me when I applied to that job in Maysville. I didn't even know where Maysville was when I applied to that, by the way.
No.
I had no idea.
I am like you didn't know this. I'm being sarcastic. Like you didn't know the state it was in, or like you didn't know where it was in the state.
I didn't know where it was in the state. Like I was just applying to jobs that had anything to do with it all across
Did
the
you know where
country out
Kentucky
of
was?
college. Yeah, no, I knew. I've got a
I'm just
whole
asking.
ass
I don't.
map behind me, man.
I know, but like it's Kentucky. It's not. I don't feel like it's a place like. I mean, you hear all these videos all the time, like, oh, find this on the map, and they like do something completely awful. Like I didn't. I mean, you're from Maine. Like I don't know if you knew where Kentucky was.
Oh, yeah, no, I know where Kentucky is. I was good at states and geography and stuff. I didn't know where Maysville was until Evan emailed me and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do a phone interview?" And I was like, "What is this?" Because I was just applying to. I applied to like 60 jobs out of college, and I was like, Maysville, Kentucky. I was like, "Where is that?" And it actually worked out well. My brother was living in Columbus. I think he was either dating or engaged to a girl at that point who lived in West Union, Ohio, which is southern Ohio in Adams County.
Oh, okay.
And I actually ended up covering when I was at the Maysville Ledger, West Union High School. So I covered the high school that my now sister-in-law went to.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, just so random.
Yeah, man, that's super weird. There's a guy that his son plays soccer at McCracken County. He sent me a DM one day and said, "Hey, are you the Tyler Dixon that wrote the Notre Dame athletics alumni Hall of Fame stories?" And I said, "I am." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm class of whatever." Like he's the dad of a kid that plays at McCracken, and he went to my high school. I mean, granted, it's like an hour and a half away, and it's not as crazy as yours, but I feel like it's still pretty random.
Yeah. No, you see all that kinds of that stuff though, doing what we do, or did. Mister, I have to wake up early.
Oh, did I do? Like, I'm probably gonna be in bed like in the next probably in bed by like 11, 11 probably.
That's not terrible.
It's not terrible, no.
But going
But
back to the sports,
yeah,
because
sports.
they happen at night. What we were talking about, kind of
Oh
came
yeah.
full circle on that. The Final
Are you gonna?
Four. We are
Oh,
the train went off the tracks.
I thought you were
We
gonna tell me South Carolina won the women's final.
I have not had that on
Oh,
because my internet's not great, and I don't think
oh, that's right. It's
my
not.
stream could handle both that and this. But they did win. I had South Carolina in my bracket winning it all. My women's bracket was fantastic, by the way.
I don't feel like there was so much parity in the women's tournament. This year there was a
It
little bit
it
more.
it's getting to be, it seems, where at the top there's more parity at the top, and then
Mhm.
the mid range teams are like you see a Belmont beating an
Right,
Oregon
right, right.
or something like that. But it's still some of these top teams. They're the top dogs. Your South Carolinas, your Yukons, your Louisville's with Jeff Walls there. He does a fantastic job.
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, South Carolina beating UConn 64-49. Not really surprised. South Carolina was, probably the best team throughout the year. I know Kentucky beat them. Or did Kentucky
Yeah.
beat them SEC tournament? Yeah, it was
SEC
them.
tournament final, yeah.
Final. Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to
Yeah.
double check that with you. But yeah, no, they're Don Staley's got a absolute squad over there. They're terrific.
I thought there was a rumor that Matt McMahon was interested or was gonna be a name for the South Carolina job, but I think they said he turned it down. I think LSU was a better spot though.
Yeah,
South
LSU's
Carolina.
had more success recently, I'd say. Obviously, there's
Hopefully.
some clouds
Right.
over
Some
the program right
that
now.
are that are waiting over the program.
Good play on words.
Yep.
So,
Will there
LSU's
be
part of the
sanctions? Sorry, that was
LSU
another one. I'm sorry.
LSU basketball is part of the reason I spent Thanksgiving in South Dakota.
Why is that?
Because Western was supposed to play in the Cayman Islands Classic, but because of COVID, the event was moved to Florida, and then it was eventually canceled. And then they were going to play in Nebraska in a bubble event there, and it was going to have like LSU and St. Louis and Nebraska and a bunch of teams. We were talking to Rick Stansberry, the Friday before they left, just a few days before they left, and the season started. And during that Zoom press conference interview, St. Louis and LSU and some other teams announced that they were going to have their own event in St. Louis instead of playing in Nebraska. And so once that happened, Western no longer had LSU on the schedule. They're like, well, we're not playing in that. And they eventually ended up at the Bad Boy Mowers Crossover Classic in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I've got to
That's
tease
right.
Bad Boy Mowers in case Bad Boy Mowers ever wants to sponsor this podcast.
I forgot that it was the Bad Boy Mower Classic.
Yes.
Did they win that?
No, they lost in the championship to West Virginia.
It's
A
not a
West
bad loss.
Virginia team with Oscar Tshiebwe, I believe.
Oh, Naismith
Yeah,
Player of the Year.
yeah, because they Western Kentucky beat Memphis in the semifinals of the tournament. Charles Bassey had a massive game in that one. He's been playing really well for 76ers G League team in the last week or so too. So it's good to see that from him. Nice kid.
Yeah, I saw him once in person whenever I went over, I guess it was 2 years ago. I covered a couple kids that played for Campbellsville, and they played there, and he walked by the scores table, and I'm like, that's a massive human being. Like, that's a big person. And now I know Jamarian, the tallest player in Division One basketball. Um, that's still crazy. 7'5".
Yeah, for those that don't know, Jamarion Sharp,
Jamarian
7'5"
Sharp.
center for Western Kentucky. Defensive Player of the Year in Conference USA this year, his first year.
Yeah.
Playing at this level after playing at Logan. Tyler knows more about that.
Mhm.
Hoptown kid, though. He's got a really bright future.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
feel like
be like,
he's barely scratched the surface. It seems.
oh yeah, and people have asked me, they're like, well, why didn't he play in high school? And I'm like, because he wasn't 7'5" in high school. I mean, he grew, and I mean, his coach, Tim Hayworth, now the coach at Louisville Male, told me, he's like, hey, I don't say this often. He goes, Jamarian Sharp will play in the NBA. And I've heard other coaches tell me that. They're like, he will play in the league. Like, number one, because he's 7'5", and that doesn't grow on trees. And I think it's crazy that, and I'll say this, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Pound for pound, Hoptown is the most athletic, most accomplished city in Kentucky, I think. Just the people that have come through there. I mean, they've had representatives in back to back before this year, back to back Super Bowls. In Keith Tandy, that was an assistant coach with the Buccaneers, and then the previous year, Austin Moss, that was a director of player development for the 49ers. Both, or one, I think they both were Christian County graduates. Keith, full circle, played football at West Virginia. Austin walked on at Kentucky. I mean, it's crazy. Jamarian is just another one of those in that long line, and I'm super excited for him. That's why I know you and I talk about him every once in a while, and it's really cool seeing him at the high school level, and then I saw him a lot at the JUCO level, at John A. Logan up in Carterville, Illinois, and now seeing him at the D1 level. It's really cool seeing that growth from him. But like you said, there is still a lot left to do for him.
I too have talked to Tim Hayworth about Jamarion Sharp,
Oh yeah, have you?
NBA player. Yes, I have. After
Was it?
Jamarion Sharp's very first start at the Division One level with Western
Oh
Kentucky,
yeah, how'd that end
it
up?
was it was Thanksgiving week, and he had a triple double.
He had a triple double.
He
That's
had a
right.
triple double. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tim Hayworth was sitting front row, right along the baseline as Jamar finished it off.
and he was loud, wasn't he?
He was cheering. He was on the
Yeah,
phone, I think.
because Tim has a gravel voice.
Yeah,
Very intimidating gentleman.
yeah. But no, the sky's the limit for him. And like you said, he's only said that about a few players.
Yeah.
Got one on in his program right now, Caleb Glenn.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's high on him too. So
Yeah. Illinois State? Is that, or no, is that Illinois State? Is there an Illinois State kid that is from Male? Am I making that up?
I'm out of touch with the high school stuff a little bit.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm slipping.
That's something that'll get cut for the final product.
Maybe. I think this is where we really find our groove. It's in the times of struggle. How do we like emerge like a phoenix from the ashes?
Backs against the wall. Got to get that outside dogs mentality.
Outdoor that
Outdoor
dog, that
Yeah.
outdoor dog mentality.
I messed it up. Okay, I messed it up.
Fun fact. So you've seen the cute little puppy that my parents have now? Did you see my snap yesterday that said he has a litter box? Like, that he uses. I think you're frozen, but I know you can hear me, so I'm just gonna keep talking. That he has a litter box now? I don't know if he can hear me now.
Hello.
Oh, okay, you're back. Okay.
Sound
Did you
okay.
did
Yes,
you hear what I said?
I heard all of it. I was
Okay.
talking. I was talking to you.
Were you okay?
You weren't talking back. I was having
I
a
was
conversation
not.
with myself.
But isn't that weird that it has a litter box?
It's kind of yeah. No, that's weird.
I
I was
mean,
gonna
it's
say it's kind of
handy.
cool, but
It's
yeah, it could go
handy.
away for a long time.
Yeah.
But I feel like a full-grown big dog with a litter box.
Right.
Might,
It's
might
not
not be a ideal situation.
right. That's true. And he's a golden retriever, so he's gonna be like bigger. What?
Well, I guess it's not like, at least it's not like a Great Dane or something.
That's true. That's true. My uncle had one. My aunt and uncle had one once. He would like ride it like a horse. His name Jordan. It's like 6'6" on its hind legs. I don't know what the point of making a horse that big is, or a dog that big is. A dog the size of a horse.
I've got nothing. I've got nothing
No.
to contribute to this conversation. I've never been on a horse. I'm bad at betting.
I've never been on a horse either. I don't think.
That's-
I've ridden more cows than horses. My aunt
What?
and uncle had a farm when I was growing up, so like they had cows, and so I was
That
riding
doesn't
cows.
that doesn't explain why you're riding a cow though.
I was a kid. Is what kids did. What'd you do in Maine? Did you like ride grizzly bears?
No, we didn't ride moose either. We rode snowmobiles.
Did you ride like snowmobiles to the store?
Yeah,
That's
we had kids that rode them to school daily.
that's awesome. How far was it? Like, was it like far?
I don't know, depends if you went across the lake or if you went like on the railroad bed. It was a whole different world up there, man. I'm telling you. It's
Well, I saw your
We-
Snapchat whenever you went up there and you had like the trapper hat and like the jacket and everything.
That's now in Kentucky. When we had that snow day, that one this year. No, I think I'm still pretty early in the season.
Uh-huh.
Like mid-December ish. I sat outside. I had my flannel hat, my flannel jacket on, and mixed myself up a nice Sanford martini.
What's that one thing you said you drink?
Allen's coffee
Allen's?
brandy. Yeah, coffee.
Yeah.
You mix it with some milk, and you got a nice. It'll warm you up. It'll cool you down. It's
Allen's
perfect
coffee?
year round. Yes.
Is that their slogan?
No, but it could be if they want to sponsor.
I was like, that was pretty good. Yeah, do they sponsor anybody? That's a sponsorship we need to get. Is it coffee brandy?
Allen's coffee brandy.
Allen's
delicious.
coffee brandy.
You have to try it sometime.
I'll have to come. I'm telling. I'll have to come down and try it just because. Like, I'm assuming you can only get this up there.
Yes. It's nowhere to be found here. People say they're like, "Oh, it's like Kahlua. It's like Kahlua. Kahlua is like it, and it's better." No, shut up.
It's what? Okay, interesting.
You know,
And you guys just drink it like? Is it like bourbon cream? I know you've had bourbon cream
it's kind of hard to describe.
because I like bourbon cream. Like, I'm a fan of bourbon cream.
It's a little bit syrupy. Have you ever had like a coffee flavored milkshake,
Yeah.
like or coffee ice cream? It's kind of
Yeah.
like that when you mix it with milk.
Okay. Do you put ice in it or just milk?
I mean, you can. Depends on your preference.
What do
But
you
like
do?
what I do, I sit outside and I stick it in some snow.
Did you have a pet reindeer?
No,
Did people?
We
were
did-
there
we did have-
reindeer up there?
We had a partridge that it was the Brewster Farm Road partridge. Its name was Larry Bird. I swear I'm not making this up. It would, if you walk down the road, it would walk down the road with you. If you drove down the road, it would like dive bomb your car. R.I.P. Larry.
Oh,
Or went
that-
out for Larry.
what happened?
Well,
He
you know,
didn't get hit by a car, did he?
birds that dive bomb cars don't always end well.
Did he get hit by a car?
I think so.
Oh,
He's no longer with us.
that's a downer. We had an albino deer here, like in Cape Girardeau, like in the city
Really?
limits. Yeah, like I was talking about it in class the other day because we were talking about this bear in California named Hank the Tank that was breaking into houses. Did you read about Hank the Tank? It's crazy.
I think I might have saw it on the TikTok.
But we were talking about the albino deer here, and they were like, "What's its name?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, let's look it up." So I looked up albino deer Cape Girardeau, and the first thing that came up was an article where somebody shot it. And so, like, I had a student that she was like, "It's dead." I'm like, "Sorry, that's my fault.
You
I didn't know."
You didn't
but
pre-check that?
No, I didn't. So that might have been on me. That might have been on me.
That's on you.
Yeah.
Traumatizing those
I'm a
kids.
great teacher. Well, I also made. Have you ever sidebar? Have you ever seen Frozen?
I saw Frozen in theater.
But have you seen it
Wait,
since?
like that was no.
I was like
That- I think
2013.
that was the last movie I saw in theater.
Well, we're talking. I told one student to have a good day, and or she said have a good weekend. I'm like you too, and somebody's like, "What did you say? Like, did you say not you or something?" I'm like, "No, I want you to have a good weekend." She goes, "Oh, okay," and I'm like, "No, Rachel, like." I don't want anyone. I don't want you to have a good weekend. I want it to rain literally over your house, just your house. And she's like, "Oh, that's a real Olaf situation." And I said, "Are you talking about like series of unfortunate events, Olaf, or Frozen Olaf?" And she
They,
said,
they didn't.
"Frozen Olaf." They didn't know the other one. I think she did though. And then I said, "Are you talking about the penguin?" And they said, "Olaf, it's not a penguin." I thought he was a penguin. He's not. He's a snowman apparently.
Yeah, you know that song. Do you want to build a
I
snowman?
didn't know that was about Olaf. Was that about Olaf?
I don't remember. It's been like 9 years. It might have been. I hope it was. I just sang on a podcast.
Is that true? Like, are they talking about building? I want to see if somebody commented on the Facebook because I want to know if that would make sense. I guess
Talking sports, dissecting Disney movies. Only here on Meet the Press.
I need to now. I need to text my girlfriend and see if that's true. She's probably gonna text me now. Now that I'm saying this
I hope she has my back.
and say
I'm gonna feel dumb spreading that
I've never thought
misinformation.
that before, but that would make sense. Like if they're talking about like, do you want to build a snowman? Yeah, I want to build. Like talking about Olaf and Anna.
I don't watch many movies.
Oh, I like movies, so I watch movies a
I'm
lot.
more of a TV show guy.
I like TV shows. We can talk about movies and TV. We'll talk about some pop culture here
Yeah, we're
every
popular
now and again.
in the culture.
Yeah.
I've got one. I've got one. I just watched Inventing Anna.
Oh,
Something
have you
on.
watched it? I started.
Oh, sorry.
I'm on like episode 3 or 4.
Turns out the song from Frozen is not about Olaf.
Oh, it's not about Olaf. Okay. Did you look it up?
No, there's a comment.
Oh.
My bad, guys.
Oh, from my girlfriend. Good to know.
I should have fact checked that. Did not think that topic was coming up. But anyway, Inventing Anna. I watched it all. Didn't really enjoy it. It's about a journalist who,
Right.
any journalist I've met.
Yeah, I've watched the first
There was a
couple
lot of weird
episodes.
things.
I
There was
watched
a
the
lot
first
of weird.
couple episodes, and there's not some things that I would do.
Is
He's
the
frozen
show.
again.
And so,
It's
am I?
on. It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
That's right.
It just came out, but there was one point. Spoiler: she finishes the story. She's pregnant in the story or in the show,
Right.
and it's like she finishes the story and her water breaks, or I don't remember the exact timeline. But as she's finishing it and leaving the newsroom, everybody in there, it's packed, stands up and cheers for her. And I have never been in a newsroom where people stand up and cheer when we finish stories. I think we should do that.
I think every single one,
Every
every
single
time
one.
you finish a story, you just get
It
up
can,
and cheer
yeah, it can be. Well, I imagine we'd have to let people know somehow.
like a bell.
Exactly. I was thinking that a bell, like
Yeah,
when you leave a restaurant and you like the restaurant, it has the bell.
like Long John
Like,
Silver's.
yeah, is that the one? I've only been there once, so
Long John Silver's. Well, I'm
yeah,
Catholic, so Friday's Lent, but like
yeah, like that. And
good
then
service,
when
like
the
kind of
bell,
thing.
yeah, when the bell rings, the story's done, and everybody in the newsroom cheers.
It's like the
I,
stock
I, I
exchange.
yeah, I pitched that idea, and I don't think it's happening.
Do you guys play games in your newsroom? We're about an hour. We need to cut this off. But do you guys play games in your newsroom?
No.
Oh, we used to play games
Oh,
in Hoptown.
there was one point we did one where we tried to pick a random word from the dictionary and work it into the
Ooh,
story to try to
and
get
put
some
it in
more
the stories.
creativity. Yeah, one of them was about a volcano. It was an actual volcano. The name of it. I put it in a story. It got cut out, but
copy editors.
It is what it is.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
I wrote one. I just completely forgot it. Oh well, we need to wrap this up. We're at an hour, and we said 30 minutes. So
Yeah, this is the first episode special.
yeah.
We hope we teach you guys to listen to the second one.
Oh, this is good timing because one of my AirPods just clicked all the way down to 0.
Perfect.
So I can only hear you in my left ear right now.
Perfect.
Perfect. But yeah, thanks for the couple people that hopped on here.
We're going to try to get this on other platforms like the YouTube, the Apple Podcasts, the Spotify.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Wherever you get your podcasts, you can find Meet the Press.
What do you use? Do you use Spotify or Apple Podcasts?
I don't listen to podcasts.
That's
unless I'm on it. I don't listen.
Gosh. Where do you listen to podcasts? Where do you eat food? I don't eat food. I don't eat food. I don't do that.
I feel like we're comparing, apples and podcasts here.
It's like, I don't know. Like I tell my kids to read stuff, read everything, read shampoo bottles.
Yeah, I'm busy reading everything. I don't have time to listen to podcasts.
That's a good. Okay.
Your advice is harming the children.
Oh, man, that's not the first time I've heard that in my classroom. But thanks everyone for hopping on. We'll be back next week. I think we're going to try to stick with Sunday evening around 8 to 9. That's just easier. I know because Jared again does have a job that he works evenings and designs a newspaper because they're not dying yet. But yeah, so come back next Sunday. Check us out on the socials. We're on. So we have an Instagram now. We have a Twitter. We have a Facebook. I made us an Instagram, by the way. Fun fact.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know what we're going to put on it yet, but I figured once we start going on adventures, that'll be the spot for that.
We can get the TikTok going, too, and get the kids involved.
I told you, but you have to start that because I gave TikTok up for Lent, and I cannot have it for another couple weeks.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We're
but
trying to expand.
We
need
are.
to get started first.
That's true.
You got to walk before you can crawl.
That's true. But thank you all. We also need to come up with an end phrase. We'll work on that this week too. A signing off thing.
Yeah, I was trying to think of it right there.
You thought it's something that it'll just come to you at that moment.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by.
That's not going to be it.
No, that's not it. But again, thank you all for watching, and we will be back next week. Thank you.